partner. The ozone's getting thinner, the heat's getting hotter, but down here at Wet Frank's Water Park, the water stays nice and cool. On top of 97 water-related attractions, 58 of which are unsupervised wave pools, we are adding one more attraction for summer 2022. You gotta see it to believe it, we got the 1,000-foot tall downward spiral water slide, Battlefield 2042. And as you make your way down, you're gonna see all the fantastic features this bad boy's got. It's got a minuscule player base. It's got a small handful of modes, most of which are barely supported. It's got completely unnecessary additions that nobody even asked for. It's so dang good, even the creators don't want to acknowledge it. Kinda like your parents. Wait till you get to the last 300 feet of the slide where we got one more special surprise for you. No more slide. We could have finished it, but we were so dang excited to show you the slide, we decided not to. So come on down to Wet Frank's Water Park, right off at exit 24, where I personally will ensure that you stay wet for hours on end.
You know what's awesome about this video? I barely even had to play Battlefield 2042 to talk about it, because every time I turn around or open or open Twitter, somebody else is making a video about oh my god. Somebody else has made some video essay about why it's the worst Battlefield game ever, the worst DICE game, a dumpster fire of epic proportions. The information was basically spoon-fed to me. But I played. Wish I didn't. Even Shroud, live on his stream, couldn't get through 5 minutes of the game without it messing up his desktop icons and screwing up his computer, and then he publicly uninstalled the game in front of all of his viewers.
What is going on? Dude, this shit fucked my shit up. I'm uninstalling. It's gone. It's gone. I want to install it from my library. Can I do that? Can I get a refund without actually getting my money back? I want it out of my library.
Is this the endorsement you were looking for? Are you reaping what you've sown? Huh? It's kind of funny because normally with these videos, you know, I lead up to talking about the gameplay, because the gameplay is usually, you know, the big problem, the reason why the game is dead, stuff like that. You know, I gotta lead up to it, but really, it's Battlefield. It plays like Battlefield, but like stupider. We gotta talk about the decision making that went on behind this game and how EA and DICE could not make a good choice if it fell out of the sky and landed ass first on their faces. Let's talk about the first blunder of this dumpster fire, and hot dang, that is the specialists. Instead of simply having 4 classes that you can pick from to play as, this game has specialists that you pick on top of your class. So the specialists come with unique abilities, equipment that, you know, only they have, stuff like that. Sounds promising, right? But the thing is, you can give any character any weapons or equipment that you want without any rhyme or reason, which really makes the class system of Battlefield games just kinda, it just falls apart. And that's what people play these games for. After having just played Star Wars Battlefront 2, another EA DICE game, for a previous video, which has the traditional 4-class system, I can honestly say that having all of this customizability with the specialists and everything, it's overwhelming and frankly boring. It just doesn't really feel right. Like, it's a Battlefield game. You're supposed to be a nameless foot soldier. That's it. You're not supposed to be this, like, hardened Navy SEAL dude who's like killed Osama bin Laden 3 times over. Okay, that's not what Battlefield is all about. It's about being a nameless, faceless dude in the middle of a whole lot of chaos and destruction. That's what Battlefield's about. Don't worry though, because EA and DICE are on it. They are addressing this problem as we speak by adding dirt to the characters' faces and making them look even more traditionally handsome. Yes, that really is what they took out of everyone's complaints. That's what we want. I want a little extra dirt on my cute man's face. You see, you'd really think that a big company like this would be willing to, you know, look at the numbers, see that they are hemorrhaging players weekly, daily, and just rip the specialists out of the game. You'd think they'd be willing to just try it. You know, because their previous Battlefield games have more players. The ones that don't have the stupid specialists. Hello? Speaking of losing players, I don't have I don't have a segue for the next thing. Let's talk about the maps.
The maps.
Hey, green screen AI, how many maps are there in Battlefield 4? Okay, great. How many maps are there in Battlefield 1? Alright, good. How many maps are there in Battlefield 5? Okay, alright. How many maps are there in Battlefield... Yeah, you know what, just don't hurt yourself, never mind. It's crazy because even though this game has a paltry 7 maps, and no, I'm not counting the rehashed maps from previous games, that doesn't count. I'm talking about the new maps for this game. Even though it's only got 7, you can ask just about anybody, and they will tell you that pretty much every single map in this game is, poop. You got these huge open sightlines, like these maps, like they must all take place in the Midwest because they're all just flat and open. None of the maps have like natural flow to them that complements the gameplay. What Discarded is like okay, that one's pretty good, but everything else is just like nonsensical almost. They're not fun to run around in, they're not fun to fight in, they're not fun to drive vehicles in, but don't worry because once again, EA and DICE have addressed this by adding boxes and sandbags to the hallways in the maps. Yes, sir. Fixed it. Okay, truthfully, they are changing how some of the maps work. They're changing the size of some of the maps, making them a little bit smaller. So I think that's good. I think it's a good start. However, these problems could have been avoided with proper playtesting and feedback. They could have already gotten this information and fixed the game and then released it. And we wouldn't be having this problem. You wouldn't have hemorrhaged almost 100,000 players out of 100,000 players. Oh, we're running ahead of schedule. We're so ahead of schedule. We're so good. We don't need any more tests. We don't need more play tests to get more feedback, to change things about the game. We're so ahead of schedule that we are going to publicly jam our foot in our mouth and say, hey, the game's ready. Come and get it. Game modes. I gotta say, after all the complaints so far, the game modes in this game are pretty cracked, my guy. I mean, you got a battle royale that's been out for 6 months and is already no longer supported. You got a marquee 128 player mode that was heavily advertised and one of the main defining features of the game slimmed down to 64 players because they couldn't figure out how to make it work 6 months after launch. You think maybe they could have figured out that it wasn't gonna work before launch? They've got rotating game modes that rotate out modes that should just be in the game, like Team Deathmatch. Why would you ever rotate out Team Deathmatch? Is that not the most basic game, like most accessible game mode for anybody playing a first-person shooter? Why would you get rid of that? Ever. Like every real first-person shooter you've ever played, what do they have? Capture the Flag, Domination, King of the Hill, Team Deathmatch. Why aren't these modes just in the fucking game? Could they not do that? Are they not capable of this? But no, it's not always there. So if that's the kind of game mode that you like to play in your Battlefield games, well, tough shit, stupid. Go play Hazard Zone. Oh wait, don't. Because it's not fucking supported anymore. You just had to squeak Hazard mode in there, didn't ya? Hazard Zone, Hazard mode. Fuck you. The modes that are there, that do stick around all the time, are the usual fare that you see in Battlefield games, but like, it's not exciting anymore at this point. It's not fun. Like, the game's like not properly balanced. It's not fixed. I'm just gonna go play Battlefield 5 or Battlefront 2. Like, anything is better than playing the latest, greatest Battlefield because it's not the greatest. It never was. Oh, what's that smell? It smells like some pretty shitty seasoning. Oh, it must be season 1 of Battlefield 20... This season and the Battle Pass. Well, it's a modern first-person shooter, so it's gotta have seasons and a battle pass, right? Wrong. If you played it in the first 6 months that it was out. Yeah, it took 6 months for us to get to season 1 of the game. 6 months after launch was the beginning of the seasons. I really need to pose this question to all AAA shooter developers, okay? Why does your game not launch with season 1? That you have the audacity to call Season 1 the 1.0 version of the game. So what were we playing before when the game launched? Like, the game launched fully. You could buy a physical copy of the game and that wasn't 1.0. You don't get to pretend that the game wasn't finished when you launched it, okay? You can't 6 months later be like, oh, season 1's out, oh, now the game's finished, now it's in a finished state. It should have been already. It should have been when it launched. This isn't some rinky-dink little indie developer that, you know, needs the early access money so they can finish making their game. It's EA and DICE. Hello? Why didn't you just hold off until you had the season 1 content ready? Until the game was finished? You probably would have retained your players better. You wouldn't have hemorrhaged all of them. All of them! Imagine your favorite Marvel character, Big Wheel, is finally gonna get a Disney Plus show, right? And it launches June 25th, okay? Big Wheel, Disney Plus, June 25th. So June 25th comes around. June 25th comes around. You open your Disney Plus app on your smart TV, you go, oh, there it is, Big Wheel, there's the thumbnail, oh, time to watch Big Wheel, and you click on it, and there's no episodes. Nothing. Not at all. Not anything. And then 6 months later, in December, all of a sudden, now that you've forgotten about the show, and you don't care anymore, now all the episodes for season 1 are there. Does that make any fucking sense? No. Don't even try. No, it doesn't. Shut up. That is effectively what you've done. You released a nothing game. You told people to fork over $60 for it, and then whinged and whined when people complained that they purchased a game from you that wasn't finished. DICE is no longer the company that they once were. This is like, they're just a machine that pumps out dumpster fire. No, it's not even a dumpster fire. That's being too nice. This is like an orphanage fire, okay? It's that bad. They didn't even add a scoreboard until recently. A scoreboard! Like the most basic thing that a shooter would have. Yeah, Battlefield Portal is pretty cool, but like, that little band-aid does not mend the 87 gaping wounds that this game and developer already have. If you want my recommendation, and you probably don't, but if you want my recommendation, uninstall Battlefield 2042 and install Star Wars Battlefront 2, especially if you're on PC. Well, maybe only if you're on PC. I've heard console is not very good. Install Battlefront 2 and install the Kyber launcher. It's a custom modded launcher, and you can play like modded game modes, and there's a server browser, and it's great. Go uninstall Battlefield, install Battlefront, install Kyber, and have a way better time. Or if you're looking for a faster shooter, install Titanfall 2 and then install the North Star client, which is similar. It added a bunch of crazy mods and stuff. There's a server browser. It's got attrition now. Go play those. Get rid of this. Give up, okay? It's not good. Go away. Battlefield 2042 straight up sucks farts. It's not good. And I have very, very low expectations that it will ever be good. Ever. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And make sure you check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/resetget, where you can watch me play the games I talk about in these videos. Or you can watch me get upset that Battlefield 2042 still isn't working and play a really cool indie game instead that deserves the attention way more. Make sure you stay tuned for the next video where I dive back into the world of Eurojank Theater and we talk about The Surge 2, the sequel to the game that I just talked about in the last video. Bye.